Welcome to Warcraft Reloaded, a podcast brought to you by Mash Those Buttons, covering World of Warcraft Classic and its community. I'm Bobby, also known as Blazzinbob, and today we're joined once again by Mel, aka Melarina. How you doing? Welcome back.
Hello. Thanks. I don't remember. Oh, I was in jury duty. That's where I was last week.
Yeah, yep. You were in deliberation first half of the show. Yep.
Great.
And also returning to the show, we have Kippzo. How you doing?
What's up? Doing good. How about everybody else?
Doing really good. Just right before the show, watched your video on movement in WoW, and how some people don't take advantage of learning how to do that. Be surprised how many people cannot strafe kite if you watch hardcore death clips.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish I had more like a compilation of people dying in hardcore, but be a little off topic. People haven't been playing hardcore for like 6 months now.
Yeah, it's been fairly dry, but I just remember so many of those death clips. Just like, okay, just freaking kite.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So first time on the show, we welcome Oprawindfury. He's Oprah Tank Furry to me often. He's one of the premier tanks in Swamp, also a streamer and content creator as well. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming. All right. So I always like to start off this show by thanking our tank patrons in Croxford, Turtle Whale, and Braxton. I'd like to remind everybody we stream the show live on twitch.tv/BlazzinBob. That's BlazzinBob. The Discord server, if you want to join ours, is warcraftreloaded.com/discord. With Cataclysm coming out and everything, if you're looking for guides, make sure to check the link in the description below or go to warcraftreloaded.com/restedxp. We're going to start the show off with the comment of the week, and then we would normally do voicemails, but unfortunately we did not get any this week. So please call in to 816-866-1066 or go to speakpipe.com/Warcraft Reloaded. And please leave us something. Those are always fun, and we miss the weeks that we don't have any. Then we're going to just talk about what we've been doing this week. We're going to get on to a little news, and then our discussion is going to be over the news topics of DPS ranking in Phase 3, and maybe a little bit of the state of PvP. It kind of goes together for me. So we're going to talk about that at the end, and that's going to be the show. All right. So with that being said, Mel, do you want to read the comment of the week?
Sure. From Devin Tucker, 1680, episode 635 of Bob comparing Warriors to a Lambo.
It's funny because it's true.
Him, just so you know. So I get more than just the episode worth of him with the same.
Oh, and you check out my stream. It's a common thing for streamers to have to repeat themselves constantly. So I tell the story at least, once a day. Once every 2 days,
is it
probably.
A common thing, or is it a Bob thing?
It's a common thing because people talk about struggling on Warrior and everything else, and I'm just like, yeah, dude, it's a tough fucking thing to play and keep up on, and yeah, it's and then once you do have it all souped up, it's just not really a drive around town car. Like, you're not going to just take it to Walmart. You're going to, take it out. Special occasions, aka raiding, but you're not really going to be going and farming stuff on your Warrior unless you like having a bad time, especially on a PvP server. You're just going to get beat up.
Sounds like a Honda Civic to me. They're either souped up or really slow.
Yeah. Well, when I do the Lambo thing, I talk about getting like a you first start out with a Pinto that's a Lambo kit, you know, just like a plastic thing that goes on top of the car, and then it finally at the end turns into a real Lambo, you know. But yeah, it's just funny because it is true. So I thought this comment was good.
Picked this comment just so that he could make the discussion again on the podcast. I think that's really the
it's funny
here.
I just thought it was really funny because it's true.
Mm-hmm.
At least I stopped talking about, you know, being one of the first Jedi in
oh my God,
Star Wars Galaxies.
Did you? Didn't, did you? Because that just came up.
Hey man, it was one of the coolest things I ever did in gaming. So I got to talk about it sometimes, right? Oh man. All right. Well, what's everybody been doing in WoW this week? Who wants to go first?
Well, you know me, I love PvP. So they introduced the damage deduction. And instead of clicking off my Dark Moon Fair buff last night after raid, I got a healer and we went into Warsong Gulch with 10% extra damage and we were just clapping people. I didn't even die. I ended up having to click it off.
That's hilarious. Yeah, that's gonna be part of the discussion because it led to some interesting stuff for me. So hopefully everybody here's tried that out PvP wise. So we're definitely gonna jump into that because it was it's very interesting how different everything was. But you've been working on so Oprah has like how many tanks? How many shaman tanks do you have? 2 or 3?
Well, I have 2 tanks and then my Ellie shaman, so 3 shaman altogether. I'm trying to go DPS on my second enhancement shaman, but I mean, apparently I do a good job tanking, so
yeah,
I kind of get stuck in that role. But I mean, I don't. The problem
you
is
sign up
like,
as DPS and they still slot you as tank.
Yeah, for Maui's raid yesterday, I signed up for DPS and he whispered me asking if I could tank it, and I did, and everybody in the group's like, please tank it for us next week again.
It's night and day.
Apparently last week they had a tanking problem, but I think they raided a little too early with my new work schedule.
Yeah.
So I wasn't able to make that raid last week.
Yeah, it's night and day when you have a tank that's really savvy, knows exactly where to position, like everything else is geared, knows when to hit their oh shit buttons, knows the mechanics. I mean, tanking is a hard job, and when you find one, it's kind of hard to let them go back to DPS. You're like, yeah.
Well, shaman tanks are pretty easy right now because there is no fucking oh shit buttons. We don't have any defensives. We're just tanky enough to tank. So we just, I mean, as long as you're running a shield mastery rune and Way of Earth, you don't have any defensives. I mean, because Shami Rage is on the same rune slot as Way of Earth, which would be the only defensive.
Is that the only tank that doesn't have one? Because like I'm thinking about like Rogue, and you've got evasion. Like that's a huge like defensive cooldown. What about
Warriors has shield block. I don't know what warlocks have.
Yeah, what a warlock. I mean, they could sack their
I don't play warlock,
but I don't think they use a void walker.
I think they're just tanky.
Well, they have Healthstone if that counts.
Yeah. But that's not really, yeah, I don't know. Interesting.
Every tank kind of has that.
Well, then you've got druids that can like rotate bark skins too, because they could cast it on anybody rather than just themselves. That's a piece of tech a lot of people just don't even use because they don't have to, right? But something we really should be watching as future goes on, you know, like rotating those can be super nice, but DPS probably don't think about it much. I'm sure healers do. Like if they're having a problem healing, I'm sure they're like, ooh. But oh well, what about you, Kippzo? What have you been up to?
Well, when P3 came out, I kind of just like took a week off for like a few days, and then I've just kind of been catching up the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, you went to Disneyland, right?
Yeah, my sister went there, and she has 4 little boys, and so she's like, "If you just come and help, I'll give you a ticket, and everything's free. Just please help."
That's awesome. Yeah.
Please help.
That's cool.
But yeah, it was cool. It was a nice little break from everything. But I mean, rogues are good now, and hunters are insane as ranged and melee, I guess. So that's good.
We picked the right classes for phase 3 for sure, because you and
Yeah,
I
not
both
for
play
phase
both
2
of those. Yeah. Well, the hunter was okay, but
yeah. I'm really excited for ranged hunter though, because melee is just it's just so much of a slot machine. So I wish steady shot was good, but still the range style. Can't complain. I'm looking forward to actually being able to do it, but I need to do the STV event to get the pre-raid bow. I was hoping the bow would drop from the raid, that way I wouldn't have to do that. But
I've still got to grab the. I felt like, because I did a big PvP push, I felt the need to get the heavy bow, like before the slow bow, before I upgraded from a 50 strength proc on melee build to a 75 strength proc. Like I only used that in PvE. I was going to do a big push, so I wanted to have a nice bow for that, because I run a weird hybrid thing where both melee's better in it, but I'm using a two-hander because I'm using trap launcher, right? So my melee pumps, but my ranged pumps pretty good too, along with the pet. So like I like basically just poke at them until they actually have to come at me. And then like there's certain classes, like if a mage is just free casting on me, like I gotta move in. But lots of the classes, like I can still go toe to toe, just shooting shots at each other. So it's a pretty fun build, but I still need to get 6 coins to get that other bow. So I know your pain. Like it was nice and easy in the first one, like 5 and 10 for all the items, and then now it's 25.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I don't know why they increased it so much, but I guess it makes sense. Like I wasn't really thinking about it, but then I was like, I guess if they just left the STV event the same, everybody would be level 50. Like you couldn't do it at level 40. Like you can't do it at level 40 anymore. So why even have those items? I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Some of the relics for shaman, since relics are, well, I'm not really sure if there's a relic at 40, but like my Ellie, like if I want to get a shield, I'm gonna have to get the level 40 STV shield. It's still pretty good, actually.
And then I believe for Hunter, the ammo pouch and the arrow quiver are still good. But you trade down 1-to-1 for those, so they're still cheap. But it's just weird. I don't know why. I feel like 15 for the weapons and stuff would have been a good jump. Maybe 20, but 25 just like eh. Although even in pugs now, I get like 1200 average, so it's not like it's that bad.
I farmed the very first level 50 Blood Moon I did. We farmed 40 coins.
I know. I was on when you guys got out and talked about that, and we're like, "Are you kidding me?"
It was insane, and it wasn't even the full shaman group I normally run. It was enhanced shaman, warrior, and we had a hunter that was just explosive shot on the altar. We had a really good spot at the beach. They changed the spirit dude on the beach, so you spawn closer to the altar.
Huge change. Yeah, way better.
We just sit in the little corner that's just north of the altar, and the melee are farming the altar and going back and helping the healer in the corner, but the healer and the hunter were just sitting in the corner. I don't remember what the last class we had, but we had like I think a resto shaman. And I was like, dude, Resto Shaman are so good because he kept us alive like almost the whole time. And I told him to go Chamois Rage because he was probably going to go and he in the middle of the event, he's like, that was a good idea to go Chamois Rage. I was like, yeah, I know. I
never see Resto Shaman.
Oh, they're awesome because I'm pretty sure that the chain heal is like a smart heal. So you put it on the lowest, and it jumps to the next lowest health person, and it's just a 5-man group, and it's just spammable. I think it's awesome. Like every time I've had a Shaman healer, it's been great. But
chain heal raid wide or group wide?
Raid wide.
Is it raid wide?
Yeah.
But in STV, you're just going to be in a group. But it was crazy because I did one the other day where we had, I believe, a booby, a shadow priest, a disc priest, me on my hunter, and then a rogue. And then the rogue was just kind of watching the shadow priest and watching the range group behind. But we normally do where, everyone dies, you just wait. Dude, like the disc priest with the freaking shadow priest, they just weren't dying. Like we're sitting there for like a minute, like all dead. And we're like, should we just come back? They're like, yeah, we're not dying. Like, okay, well, let's come back. And they die like once to every 3 of our deaths. Like it was hilarious how powerful that was. So I was just thinking, like, what if you had like just 5 shadow priests? The dishes are done, dude. Or maybe 1 disc priest in there or something. But
well, now I have my Ellie shaman, so I definitely want to do like 4 Ellie shaman and a healer.
Yeah, just blowing people up.
Just flame shock, lava burst, everybody. Just
I feel like it goes either way. Like people are either like super focused on me as a disc priest, or they completely ignore me and I just stay alive forever. Like I don't know why they would completely ignore me. That seems like a bad strat, but I'll take it.
I feel like they could DPS through your heals and stuff sometimes, maybe, depending on the comp. Also, if you're out of mana, I usually don't mess with a disc priest that's out of mana. I try to kill their team in that case. But
silly. We have lots of ways to regen mana.
Yeah, but I mean, this is like BGs. Like these end so fast, if you're in the wrong spot, at the wrong time and stuff. But yeah. So, what have you been doing, Mel?
Well, we did the raid. We got all the bosses down in the raid. Woohoo!
0 wipes too. Everybody here was in that raid.
Yeah, it definitely went from 0 to 100 pretty quickly there.
Yeah,
so that was fun.
Yeah.
And then I PvP'd one night just because Bob says I never PvP. Did do that one night. Okay. Had a blast. Not really, but it was all right. I think because there's not like a set goal for PvP for me. Like, and I could like get to rank a different rank and get certain pieces of gear. They're just not as important to me, I think. And then last night we quested in Ungoro.
We did all the Ungoro quests. She loves questing. So we quested a bit. Yeah, PvP'd a bit there too. People would make the mistake of attacking us and they would die.
Well, it's funny because rogues used to be able to like stun lock me and, kill me before Bob could even like get to me if I was further away. But now I can use dispersion like when I'm in anything. So I just use dispersion and I have 6 free seconds to wait for Bob to catch up. And
yep, and then you get out of it, you can fear. And see, now you have even more ways to get out if you PvP'd more and were rank 5 and had the good trinket.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
I would. But I got dispersion and the undead thing. So I think I'm covered,
The undead thing, yeah. But that only works on fear. I oftentimes just use it for fear. That's the only time I think to use. But it's used for like charm. I think it's something else.
Fear, charm, and sleep. There aren't that many sleep effects in the game.
Yeah, I usually forget to use it. So
there's not a whole lot of warlocks using the what's her name in PvP.
I did get charmed though the other day in Arathi Basin. I was like, what the hell is happening to me right now? Oh yeah, I forgot about this.
I love when warlocks banish other warlocks. It's so funny.
It is so funny. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it had happened in a BG and I was like, dude, did he just fucking Petri? I didn't even know that was in the game. And like, no, he's banished. I was like, oh, that's great. Oh, man. Yeah, that's one of the funniest things to do to people in STV, too. Like, with the traps, like, just, like, freeze trap somebody. Like, if nobody hits them, they just sit there forever. Like, it's so long. You can do it in combat with the trap launcher. It's hilarious.
I vaguely remember in, like, vanilla being able to mind control people off of the Arathi base and Lumbermill. Can I do that?
Still, yep,
Yeah.
you definitely can.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely can.
Yeah.
Chance to hit comes into play then. That's why you'd often see lots of Shadow Priests doing it. Because they'd have that 5% PvP chance to hit, which... No, it's only 3% in PvP for casters. Because it's actually 4%, but you always will have 1% chance to miss, regardless in PvP or PvE. But for casters, it's 3% hit for PvP.
I really want Thunderstorm so I can knock people off Lumbermill.
I hope they don't add that as a rune, to be honest.
I don't like any rune that moves you. Like, I don't like any move that moves you. Like, I thought that was, like, Wrath of the Lich King, like, just... is where I fell out of love.
It's so good. Doesn't use any mana. It gives you mana back. And yeah, Thunderstorm is so good.
Priest shackle undead horde?
No.
Funny.
They could in like when WoW first launched, undead players were actually undead's like unit type. But they changed it.
Yeah, you could actually breathe underwater forever too. Like, yeah. But I don't like anything. Yeah, I think that's where I fell out of love with PvP was in Wrath, like DKs pulling you to them, boomies poofing you off the side of things, like mind control. At least you break it really fast. I don't know. It's very niche, but when every boomy can knock you off the side and they're just standing on that one side trying to bait you in as a melee, and then you come in and then they move to the other side and poof you off, like it doesn't feel good to nobody. Although you can, now we know the tech because of Simon Eyes, you can use a snowball, target yourself anytime you get pushed by anything. It looks like. Have you guys seen that tech?
Yeah, of course, I've done it.
So on the dragon boss, the two dragons that blow you through the air, you can have a macro with /target, like at player, throw snowball or whatever, like, and you just hit that macro. It throws a snowball at you yourself, and it knocks you over, which stops you from getting pushed.
That's so weird.
Yeah, so you probably could use it on the first boss too. Yeah, it's a weird interaction. I don't know if it's a bug and it'll be fixed, but
I've never been
snowballs did go up.
I've been knocked down that hole almost every single time.
I've come close. I've gone over the hole a couple times. I've gone like right to the edge of the hole, but you know.
My very first pull Sunday, it was Monday or Sunday, like the very first lockout, I went into the hole, but I hit the side, not the pool below, and I lived. And I ran all the way back and died as soon as I walked in the room.
Speed run.
Did you?
Yeah, I survived though. I thought I was dead, and it was in our speed run a couple weeks last week, I think.
Well, I should have just stayed there.
Somebody said there was another way you could survive.
Lip, parachute cloak, slow fall,
fogger, slow fall.
Yep. Levitate, all of these things work, but like I just like awkwardly landed on the ledge because of the angle that I hit the hole. I like landed on the thing. But if that does happen to you guys, you do survive it, just save your buffs. Let the rest of the team finish the kill. And I walked all the way back up. As soon as I walked through to start walking down the stairs to drop down, it insta-killed me. Like there was a wall there or something.
Really?
Like, and yeah, the raid was still going. So that happens to you, just chill.
So you can't rejoin the fight, basically.
Yeah. So just chill and wait for your team to be done. Save them buffs. Plus, I don't even know if it was on a time limit, I'd say reboot the buffs if that happens to you, and then just wait and see what happens next, because it's to kill you right before the end of the boss. I have no idea, no matter where you're at. I might try to, I don't know, but it was definitely weird. Yeah, so you did questing. What else?
I don't think I did anything else. Well, we did an Arathi Basin last night.
You crafted your shoulders.
Oh, yeah, I did craft my shoulders. I got my enchanting and my tailoring up, and I crafted my shoulders, and I got all the enchants that I needed, I think. Yeah.
What'd you think of that quest to get the epic patterns?
It was obviously very memorable because I can think about it right now.
That's what happens when you have me just be like, do this, do that, do this, do that, do this, do that.
Yeah,
You're like, what did we just do?
Remember where was it? Was it the one that was in Ashenvale?
We kept having to go to, well, we started at Ashenvale, got the weird buff, then went and talked to the person right outside Ashenvale, Emerald Dream.
The boss in Ashenvale, right?
But then we had to run all over the place.
Oh, we had to keep going back to Moonglade. That was the annoying part. I had to keep going back to Moonglade. I feel like I had this same guy.
We also
free gold to summon me to Moonglade like 25 times.
It was last week too when we were farming all the trash from the 6 of 8 lockout, and so there's one part you have to go into Sunken Temple, but you have to go into Oranicus's room or whatever. And so we were like using invisibility pots, and like I was taking aggro to get you in there to get that part of the quest done.
Yeah,
but we did it.
Kind of a nightmare, but we did do it eventually.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was worth it. I could have just waited until this week, but I'm impatient, and it was so close, right? So
I still need to do that quest on both my shaman.
Yeah, I need to do it on my hunter, and whenever I get this orc rogue up, I need to do it again.
Yeah, it's way better than last phases, and like you learn everything just like you did before for every profession, just like you did phase 1, instead of having to pay 25 gold per, pattern and shit. Like, it's fairly cheap. It's a little time consuming, but I still think less time consuming than the quest was before in P2.
I'd rather it be time consuming than cost me 25 gold per pattern, to be honest. Like,
yeah, I think it got better on both fronts this time around, which I thought was very cool. And then, luckily you could keep the bracers afterwards, so you can always help friends do it, when they're already done, as long as they don't get rid of the bracers. But if you get rid of the bracers, I believe you can just go buy them from the rebuy guy in Hootie Bay, so it's not that big of a deal. Oh, Oprah, did you ever...
I do still need to make my enchanting sigil. I haven't made that yet. Ooh. Put that on the list.
Okay. Oprah, I know you were talking about doing it sometime soon, but have you done the quest line that allows you to be both goblin and gnomish engineering?
Oh, yeah.
I still haven't done that. Do you want to tell us what that's like?
You basically go to Shimmering Flats, and I read all the NPC names like 5 or 10 times, and then the one I needed was like behind a little house that took me forever to find. So that sucked. But then I finally got the quest, and then you go to Ungoro, and you have to kill these elite. You have to find like a certain thunder lizard thing and kill these elites, and I was able to solo them, but there were 2 warriors there that just could not solo it. So it was kind of funny. But then we finally got a drop, and it's not shared, so both the warriors ended up getting a drop. And I mean, I could solo it, so if they ditched me, it wouldn't have really mattered, but they ended up helping me. And then let's see. Then it sends you Crap, I forgot where it sends you after that. Sends you. Oh my god, no, I remember. Oh, dude, it was so painful.
You
It was
purposely forgot where it
so
sent you.
painful. It's so painful. I have yet to do it on the second shaman. Then you go to Hearthglen, and you just cannot even kill those elites. There's so many of them, and you have to go inside one of the houses inside Hearthglen and Eastern Plague or Western Plaguelands.
Oh, very north of Western.
Yeah, so like
where Tyrion's brother's at. Yeah.
Yeah, and you have to go like really deep in there. Go to a second floor of a house where there's like 2 mobs you aggro that are high level elites that you basically should just take a full group and clear out the top of that house. It was me and one of the warriors, and I think we died like 5 or 6 times trying to get this little box.
Oh man.
And then I was like, all right, I'm gonna aggro the stuff, and you loot the box. Then I'm gonna die. You aggro the mobs. I'm gonna onk and then loot it. And he started looting the chest before the 10-yard radius of the mob running to me. So he got in combat. So then we had a corpse run again and retry it. Like it was, and then we had to just take res sickness at the end of it. We were so tired of corpse running by that point. Like
it's a long run too.
Yeah, it was actually really painful. I mean, I think the whole quest chain must have taken at least 3 or 4 hours, but that was like the first go around. The second go around, probably gonna be a little bit easier. But it was like, why did y'all do this? Like, I understand if you're level 60 doing it, it's probably not gonna be too bad. But level 50 doing it sucks.
Yeah, that does sound
like gosh.
Yeah, I thought about trying to farm that area for like high level greens for enchanting mats and stuff, but I think it's just a little too high. But I don't know. I was able to kill 57s and 58s on my hunter in Burning Steppes. So I was trying to farm out that recipe from the BlackRock champions. But it was kind of a bitch. Like I had to reset, drink, and eat every time. Like it wasn't like easy mode doing it. I feel like 2 people though, I could probably do it a little easier, but it just have to be like a heal because melee are probably not going to hit. Like I don't know what it is about ranged skill, why it hits so much better on high level targets.
Because they can't resist or parry
or dodge.
So you can only hit them or miss them.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that does
with a ranged attack.
No glancing blows too. Maka in chat makes a good point. The glancing blows, the higher level mobs, the higher they go up above you, the more the glancing blows.
That's
happen.
why Hunter's so fucking OP when it comes to open world farming mobs. Is just you're not having to deal with any of the RNG that melee and casters are having to deal with.
Mm-hmm. I feel like you should be able to dodge ranged, right? No?
You can in like other expansions, like in Wrath, you have like a 25%. Like it exists in vanilla, but it's just an extremely rare stat. Like the Night Elf Priest racial gives you, I think it's 8% chance to dodge ranged attacks, but it's just like not on any. They just didn't really put it in the game. It's like it exists, but it's just not really like implemented.
Oh, my rogue. Is it my rogue or my hunter that has 4%? Like in my PvP spec, I've got it's either in survival or subtlety. I have 4% chance for it. I know for sure it's for spells to miss, but it might be ranged attacks too to miss. Like just a 4%, which is kind of nice in PvP. I just can't remember if it's the rogue or the hunter. I think it's the rogue. See, This is why it's smart to just play, you know, all one class, then you never get mixed up, right? Like,
no, you just gotta play for 30 years and memorize literally everything.
well, you play both of them. You can't think of it right now either, can you?
What, like the...
Maybe it's on both of them. Yeah, I'm gonna pull it up.
I know hunters parry the shit out of me, and it pisses me off.
Dude, okay,
you
so
mean like you're like just naturally like an item that you have
no
that gives you the
okay, yeah, heightened senses way down in the subtlety tree.
yeah PvP, yeah,
2
that works
points
on
in
ranged
it.
attacks.
Yep, it works on spells and ranged attack, 4% extra. Maybe it's not in the hunter too. Hunter might have something similar too. But yeah, I think a lot of people just don't play like the super defensive parts of PvP specs. I really love it on my rogue and my hunter. That's probably why I was one of the few people not bitching about getting one shot in PvP, because I was never getting one shot ever. Like, but I also did way less damage than other people, so tit for tat, right?
Hunters would like do half my HP as I'm running up to them, and then kill me with their flanking strike as soon as I get to them, because I'm already almost dead in phase 2, and it pissed me off so much.
Dude, you could
phase 1 and 2, yeah, like phase 3 is definitely a lot easier for me to be more competitive, but I attacked this one Alliance Hunter in Hinterlands, and he just he like meleeed me first and then backed up and shot me, and he just globaled me. Like, I was pretty impressed, honestly.
Well,
I was not expecting that. Like,
you like it, I do it to people all the time, but it's the opposite. They come in close on me because I'm shooting them, and then I just whack them for half of their health. But those are usually people that are under geared that I'm whacking. But because like I'm like a Raptor Strike without it being built up, right, on with the 2-hander is going to hit for about 800. Then it's going to hit for about 1,000. Then it's going to hit, the next one's going to hit for like 1,200. You know, like it's just like it's you know, every global if I get lucky. But sometimes I'll have to throw in a flanking strike or a wing clip, you know, and wing clip's great because with the hunter, it has the chance to stop them, like with my spec, to mobilize them. So then they just can't run anymore. And it's just, and then on top of it, like the new rune we got added, it just adds a flat 20% dodge to like.
That thing is insane.
So in PvP, I've got like when I'm in Arathi base and fully buffed with just normal buffs like priest buff, mark, I have almost 7k hit points on the hunter with like the health buff and my talents, along with double kings, along with the stamina boost in BGs, and then like I've got so much health that I literally have to eat 4 times like to actually fill my whole bar, which is so horrible. But yeah,
that's how it is with like my mana bar.
But I've got, okay, Beb, so I've got that health. Then on top of it, I have 30% in just buffed base dodge. Then I turn on monkey. I've got 38% dodge along with 9% to 10% parry. It's 50% reduction. Like it's 50% mitigation on a melee class that isn't a tank. I mean, it's absolutely bonkers. I don't, it feels like they're trying to set up hunters to be tanks and like at level 60 with some of these runes, because I thought it was going to proc 20%. Like when I read the rune first, like it was going to proc 20% dodge on something, or I could use that rune as a skill and it would be 20% dodge for like 20, 30 seconds on a 2-minute cooldown type of deal. But nope, it's just straight up 20% base.
They'll have hunters be tanks. I think that,
I just don't get what they're trying to do with them. If they're doing that, then like because we're not struggling in PvP with the correct talent build. Like maybe.
So you heard it here. Let's nerf hunters.
It does kind of feel nerfed. Patch, so. It feels nerfable. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, your pet gets the dodge too, but that still doesn't really make it make sense. And then you use it because it takes 15 seconds off flanking strike, but you're still resetting the flanking strike anyway. I don't know. I think it's kind of a weird rune.
And if flanking strike, it does way less damage than Raptor. Like, yes, I know it buffs Raptor, but in DPS, like Raptor strike always first. If Raptor's up, Raptor's the button that you hit in PvE. And then flanking strike second, and then wing clip third. If you don't have Wind Fury, maybe you wouldn't wing clip in PvE. You would like try to mongoose bite or something. But wing clip is like just gives you a really cheap chance to proc a extra swing with Wind Fury. But yeah, I don't know. It's been fun though. It's been really fun. Yeah, so what have I been doing? I've been doing a ton of PvP on the Hunter. Like, I really love my build. People can make fun of me, but I'm 41 points into survival. All the survival tactics, all the stuff that stunned you and root you. Like, I have so much fun in PvP. It's absolutely like I can solo guard a base with like three people coming in. I might not kill them all, but I'm going to hold them all off until somebody gets there with reinforcements. Like, I got freaking the Sting. I got the freezing trap. Like, I can pull people out of stealth. Like, I mean, it's just the Hunter's been just a blast to play in freaking PvP. But then I've just been dotting I's across the T's, like going doing different quests. Tried to see on my Hunter what I can solo farm. It's so interesting, like having different pets to try to do different things, or different pet setups to try to do different things. But I'm finding it crazy how many places high level I can solo farm with the Hunter. I probably should get into the AoEing stuff, but I just haven't. And then the raid. We like struggled the first couple lockouts. It was new. It was basically Move was raid leading. I was setting up the raids, building teams, and I think I was kind of trying to bring as many friends as possible, and that was hurting the team because I just wasn't bringing everything I should have been bringing proper. But Move kind of stepped down from raid leading this last week. I took over raid leading, and then also changed the comp up quite a bit. Had a friend shout out to Hallieman's, who changed over and quickly in 1 week got a Shadow Priest ready for us, which really helped a lot, I think, with a lot of different things. Gave us extra dispel, extra shackle, like healing for whatever group we decide to have them in. You know, that was real good. We had 4 shamans, which just like trivialized a lot of things. Made sure to really press people bringing greater nature protection potions. Things of that nature. And then I just didn't really micromanage much, kind of explain the fight, explain different things, asked if there were questions, would say some pertinent things during the fight, but we kind of kept comms pretty clear and everybody was kind of able to call their own stuff out. There was a lot of group interaction in the leading style. So we just went through and we didn't wipe once. I think the most people we lost during a fight was 3, maybe. Total, like in a fight?
I applied the pressure.
Yeah.
Well, and then we also had our first time having a shaman tank, which is just huge. That just allows, especially if they're able to solo tank most things, it just allows you to have an extra DPS that you wouldn't have. I mean, that just makes the fights quicker.
Oprah at the beginning was like, how many tanks do we have, guys? And I was like,
I kept telling Winky to go DPS.
Yep, he's coming DPS next week. He told me that, and so San will just be the second tank if needed. And
yeah, I think having a feral druid to just switch to bear form and tank if needed is the play.
It's so much better than having another tank that has a tank like they have to change between the builds, right? Like the druid's just perfect because yes, you do change your talents up a bit. You do lose DPS having the things you need for bear, but nothing compared to like what just most tanks besides shaman would be spec'd into. Like they just wouldn't be able to do great damage when they weren't tanking, except for maybe warriors right now because they're basically doing fury. So they could probably still get.
I off tanked the first 2 weeks and it sucked because I had a better weapon than the main shaman tank. So if I pressed any of my abilities, like I would just rip threat. And I felt so useless, like off tanking. I'm like, dude,
that's like, that's how I felt in Wrath as a warrior. Like I couldn't like keep threat on the whole group to save my life. A paladin could do it easy as pie, right? But then we're trying to tank swap for different hard modes, like Thorum, in the mountains, and like I literally just would have to like hit escape and stop hitting the boss because every move I would do had heroic strike built into it. So if I hit like one button, it would yank the threat right back to me right after the pally taunted. Like the pally is like the warrior's like single target threat was out of this world.
Yeah.
Tanking. You have to do it for a while to really understand. Like a lot of people in SoD have come in thinking that it's going to be something they can do easily, but there's a lot of movement. Like just like Kippzo was talking about in his video, like for a tank, movement is like if you have a keyboard turning tank, there's no freaking way you're getting through anything. In like you have to know to never turn your back to the boss. You have to know how to strafe kite. Like these are things that you just have to know. Like. And you have to be good at it, and you have to be fast at it, and you have to snap threat, and like there's just it's been an eye opener for a lot of people. I think that never tanked before.
I was tanking in hardcore, but I only tanked up to I did all of SM, and then I got this was on the add-on days. I had gotten the Executioner Cleaver as a drop in Daenerys, and I switched to it, and I was leveling up my weapon skill on one of those wastewater like warlocks, and I fucking died.
Oh no.
It was so painful. I had like the fishing hat, I had the Executioner Cleaver, like this shaman just had such lucky drops. And I was just doing so good. But yeah, I was tanking RFC and I was also finding 4 other people that would agree to have a shaman tank their hardcore dungeon, which I thought was really interesting.
I thought
a lot of people either were super excited or just wanted to see if I could do it. So and then my
they're
threat
all
was
like
so
real far
good.
back when you go in. They're like, all right, let's see what happens.
Well, I mean, I don't know. My threat was so good, and I was using a shield and everything, and I wasn't taking any damage, and everybody was just like impressed. by the end of the dungeon. Like every time we did something, it was a lot of fun.
Nice.
I even did 5 shaman, BFD, SFK, and Wailing Caverns on hardcore. We did 5 shaman.
Nice. I found hardcore easier to tank because people gave you time. I find it like I find it like Wrath or like now, like people attack immediately and you're expected to have that snap thread on everything. And I find a lot of tanks.
Yeah, you had to focus. You definitely had to focus fire and actually pay attention. Yeah, last night in our raid, it felt like everybody was on different targets. And since they nerfed the lightning shield, I couldn't keep thread on anything last night, and I was just running all over the place trying to hold aggro on everything, on like all the trash. And yeah, it just seemed like everybody was on a different target. And
that was the speed run, right? The swamp speed run.
Not last night. Oh. Not last night. It was last.
Oh, I thought you were saying
last week. No.
Yeah, that's probably right.
No, y'all's run. There were a few mobs that got away from me, but for the most part, everybody let me do the pool, which is like the only thing that I really need out of a group is like in Maui's run, people are running ahead of me and pulling, and then
they're trying
it just screws up my aggro.
Yeah, see,
and then I don't get mana back from blocking mobs, so then I don't have mana. It sucks for me.
Yeah, I tried to like, you know, without specifically saying it, I tried to really put a notice on like, hey, like, you know, every time I would tell you pull when you're ready, like, you know, all this, I was trying to put a notice on like everybody, Oprah's going to pull, you know, and then you guys follow. So I didn't have to just specifically tell them, but the people, you know, in Maui's raid are trying to push as fast as they possibly can, right? And it's just a different environment, and so it's probably very stressful for you.
Yeah, it definitely triggers me a little bit. Definitely. And then people like, well, it's kind of like an alt raid. It's the second raid of his, so it's kind of like a lot of people are on their alts, but Ampy was in the raid. He's always ripping thread off of me. And we have fucking Reeves over here. Every time I see him cast a Starfire on something, it rips aggro. I'm like, and they're both targeting something different. And I'm just like, I just can't do this.
I can't do this.
Yeah, I mean, there's some things like for Rogue, like I switch targets before everybody else because I don't want to lose damage by losing combo points, you know, so like I'm swapping before others should. I'm wondering if they're swapping because they want to make sure they get their full huge Starfire off on a new mob that, you know, has full health rather than the mob targeted. I'm just guessing.
No, they just see you do it and then they just copy you.
Yeah. I think you're giving them too much credit, to be honest. I think
there's very niche things to get a lot more damage. Yeah. All right. Well, shit. We're still on. Yeah. So that's all I've done. I've done other stuff. I think like lots of PvP. Oh, I went to Bobka's raid, my first raid on my hunter. Did good. That was a shit show of a raid though. Bobka had some real life stuff happen. C-Dank took the reins, you know, did a good job. But a lot of the raid was just very chatty and not listening to C-Dank. And so second boss comes, he calls everybody to go in. 7 of us go in, the rest of the raid doesn't. And they get locked out. And then the smart people run into the room away from the boss at Hearth. I stood there right at the door, freaking out, tried to Hearth. And then right before my Hearth went off, the little slime leaked onto my toe. I lost world buffs the very first, right after the first boss. But I was second DPS on encounters overall in that raid by the end of the raid. And lots of people didn't lose their buffs till late. So I felt pretty good about that. Excited to go back in with full buffs and hopefully this time not have that happen. But it was very similar to what you're talking about, Oprah, where everybody's just kind of running ahead. Everybody's like overconfident because it's like a complete alt run, right? So everybody's used to like their mains and all the power they have there and the gear and everything else. And people are just in too much of a hurry and therefore ruining the fun for later because of that. But yeah, that's pretty much my week. Let's move into time for the news. All right, I don't think this is so limited free character transfers from PvE to from PvP to PvE realms. They're allowing people to move off PvP realms. It's very sporadic, like on when you can do it and when you can't, because they're still trying to keep everything 50-50 on the PvP realms, which I think they've done a pretty damn good job of, and I'm still loving being on a PvP server. But many people aren't. Our friend Sardako, who's supposed to be on the show next week, moved all of his tunes off of, he left the guild, moved all of his tunes off of Crusader Strike.
Oh my gosh. Crazy. I didn't know that.
Yep, he did it the other night, and he was just, bro, I want to like push the envelope of DPS. There's a lot of little min-maxing things you get out in the open world, and you get sucked in to do, crazy parse things, and he just doesn't want to deal with the PvP stuff in open world. And I get that. A lot of people, we're making fun of him because, like, who could have saw this coming? You could have, if you've been paying any attention. Like, you if you don't like it, you know you don't like it. I like the world having a sense of danger. I just don't like it when it gets 70-30. Like, that's when it's not danger anymore. It's just dumb, right? So a lot of people are finding out that they shouldn't have writ PvP servers, and I don't know. I love it. What do you guys feel? Like, I think it makes the world fun.
It's really annoying. Level 50s camping, level 40s and Nightmare Zone is really annoying.
It is annoying. Yeah. I've always thought there should have been some sort of just across the board level thing where you just can't attack somebody, that's like 10, well, let's say 12 levels lower than you. Like, I don't know. It's just, it always feels bad. But at the same time, there's layers, right? This is what I say. There's layers. You can get away from things.
On every layer. It's so bad.
Like, I don't know why there's so many bottom feeder alliance on Crusader Strike. I'm sure they'd say the same about us, but I just don't see Horde camping like the entrances to the dungeons. I don't see Horde doing that, but maybe it's because Horde has faster queue times. I don't know. Like, maybe that's a thing. Like, across the board, Horde might have faster queue times in BGs. Because that's why Horde used to do it back in 2019, was because their queues were 20, 30 minutes. So they'd queue up, then they'd go someplace and farm kills until their queue popped. So I'm wondering if that's the case. But either way, it happens everywhere. But it's still like, sometimes I don't get to do what I wanted to do because there's too much alliance presence. So I'm like, okay, I'll come back at a different time. I think that makes it feel alive for me. Like, it makes it feel, like if I really want something, maybe I get, a few friends together, we go and wipe them for a bit. Maybe they move out, like it does waste a lot of time if you think fun is a waste of time. At least for me, I think it's fun for these types of things, but it is a waste of time as far as like, as far as progressing in the game. Like, you're not gonna, like, if you get in a fight with one dude and you guys are camping each other, you're not going to like get enough honor to make this time a worthwhile cause. But I love it. But how, like, what are your thoughts, Kippzo?
I've never really had an opinion on it because I want to play with the best people, and those people roll wherever they're gonna roll. Like, Crusader Strike is a role play server, but like, there's no discussion on like, should we allow role playing? Should we ban role playing? It's just whatever server, you know? And so I'm not gonna, I mean, it's kind of not to knock on Sardako, but I'm not gonna be an idiot and go isolate myself. Like I have to play with the best people. So like there's not really any choice at all. So whenever like I'm playing the game and I get camped by, I don't know, 60 alliance that are 40 levels higher than me, and they like people go in my YouTube comments and say like, we camped this guy for hours, ha ha ha. And I'm like, I think it's like, it's kind of weird that people like even like that to begin with, but I mean, it's not.
It is
the
weird.
whole game is like a time dump, so it's kind of whatever. I just don't really think about it, and I just move on. And then if the developers want that in the game, I guess I'll deal with it. It's not why I play the game. I don't play to go camp like level 1s or anything. So I'm not, psychotic. So I don't know. I just kind of try not to think about it because I think there's a ton of people like if you think like camping people is a waste of time, if you refresh the classic WoW subreddit, it's just nothing but posts about like the PvP changes and like world PvP and stuff. People get so mad about this stuff and they'll talk for hours and hours and hours. And nobody's going to change anything. I don't really get it, It's just part of the game I just don't play. I liked world PvP on private servers, but here there's like
too many people.
You can just layer. Like if you're camping somebody, you just like you can't. If I want to go gank Payo and I see where he is, and I go there, I'm not going to see him because I'm on another layer. I don't get it. I don't know. I just don't do it.
That's why I block out. I blocked out the layer thing on my map on my stream, and it's crazy how many people don't find me now because they don't know what layer I'm on. Like,
from what is that add-on called?
Nova. Yeah, I just put a little black box right over where it says my.
That's pretty smart.
Yeah, it's worked out great. Like, because my old guild is Alliance side on Crusader Strike, and they'd get bored Friday and Saturday nights and be like, "Where's Bob? Let's go kill him a few times." And they'd come and kill me. And now they're like, "Well, do we really want to search 9 layers for him? I don't know."
They don't kill me, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's all out of love, right?
I wish there was more 1v1 action instead of like it always seems to be a group of alliance versus me, and I'm always
that's the only time they pick
solo.
a fight.
Yeah, I'm normally solo in the world, so
that makes it harder.
If it's 1v1, like I respect that, and like my rule is I'll kill somebody once or attack them once, and I'll I won't camp them unless they give me, unless they like attack me back, which if I kill them and then they attack me back after they res, like they're just an idiot.
Deserve it.
But like Alliance just don't have any morals. Like they I honestly will just camp you for whatever reason.
I think it's
and I don't camp people like that, like for no reason.
I don't either, but these people that do that over and over again, like they're just measuring their penis on like how much they can do in a video game, and like it's kind of gross. I do the same thing as you, like, but I don't even really attack people. If I'm trying to do something, like I walk by, but then if I see 5 alliance
don't.
Dude, Joe, you're talking about our friends that go and kill lobies as we walk by and stuff. I try to tell them to like leave them be. Like, yes, I do. Do not try to say anything different. Like unless I'm like really drunk and it's late at night and I'm on my warrior and I have double heals, I'm like, we're killing everybody. But like those are rare. Those are rare times. Just most of the time, I'm running by them. I see 5 alliance up ahead. I'll be like, oh, maybe I shouldn't get too close to them. Seems like, if you saw dangerous humans in the distance in real life, you probably wouldn't want to get too close to them if you didn't have a party. If you have a party, you're like, okay, well, we're going to go. If they want to rumble, we'll rumble. You know what I mean? So it's like, I just use my brain when I'm like going towards something that looks like a bad idea,
Yeah, but when you see somebody, like when you're in a group and you see like the other faction walk by and they just stop and they're sitting there like, I really need to get over there, but I think I might need to take an alternate route. And like they sit there for a good like minute or so and then they try to decide what they're going to do.
Well, I was getting Songflower on my Hunter just the other day, and I walk up, and there's an Alliance priest just right there waiting for the Songflower. I come down, I dismount. They immediately mount up and start to run off, but I just wave at them. I was like, it was only 30 seconds to go, and I was like, we could do this together. And we both got Songflower, both hearthed out,
That's so cute.
They thanked me, but it's just like, why kill them in that instance right there, right? Like,
well, it's just
now
like when
I have a kill on sight
everybody
list.
was leveling. When
I have a
everybody
kill
was
on sight
leveling
list,
during the incursions, nobody fucked with anybody, right? Like everybody was like on a path. Like you weren't killing the other faction. You were all in the same area. And then as soon as people started to hit 50, that's when it became a bloodbath. Because they were there just helping their friends get to 50, and they were like, well, we'll kill the other faction while we're here.
Yep. I'm just like, I don't know. I treat it like, but if like, I love Spy because I love the kill on sight list. And if you're on my kill on sight list, I know you've done something dickish. Like you've spawn camped me, you've attacked me while I'm fighting a mob at, 30% health. Like these types of things are dastardly in my book. And if my kill on sight list goes off, I'm like, bro, we're going to kill him at least twice. Before you guys go ahead, I will catch up. Like, I've got to bring the pain to those assholes because if I'm just beat 1-on-1 by somebody, I'm like, well done, or even 2-on-1. Like, they couldn't help that a dude jumped in. Possibly, like, they got to do something dastardly to get on my kill on sight list. So, like, sometimes but. Luckily, most people I run into in the open world, now that I don't play Warrior, I just pretty much dumpster on. So it's usually not a problem. Like, I can often kill 3 people in the open world. I'm not killing 3 people in a BG. You know what I mean? Like, normally.
Yeah.
So open world people are usually in PvE specs, usually not very good. Keyboard turning, like...
backpedaling. That's when you know they're bad at PvP, when they backpedal.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Just turn to the side, move quick, turn back. But yeah. Well, this is up for you guys. Just wanted you guys to know. So yeah, good luck if you change servers. I think the only free one though, the Mere Casuals moved to, oh God, what did they move to? They moved to something because they were just like they could not survive on Crusader Strike anymore. They went to what was it? Hold on, I'll tell you in 2 seconds here. They went to it'd probably help if I click SoD, huh? They went to Lava Lash US, and that their horde, it's only 32% horde there. There's 912 raiders horde wise on all of Lava Lash, and there's 2830 population that's raiding. So they're like happy, but the one Josh, the guy who loves to raid, he's like, well, I don't know that I'm going to get in a raid unless I make one for myself. So you might want to pay for the transfer off to like a real server. Just my thoughts. All right. Next piece of business is... Okay, so Hunter... Wait, no. How did I switch past... This is next.
No BlizzCon.
No BlizzCon 2024. Found this out two days ago, guys, and I'll be honest, it really, really pissed me off. BlizzCon was the highlight of my year. 2019 came along, and then we had our last BlizzCon and then it was canceled for years. In my opinion, it was canceled for years too long. Like it should have taken 2 years off max, in my opinion. And then it finally comes back to us last year. I'm sorry, it was fucking awesome. Like it was really good. Like, yes, they didn't sell out, right? That was a big topic that they didn't sell out. You can still buy tickets like right at the day of. I gave away the extra ticket that I had instead of being able to sell it. And like we ended up selling the other, we gave away one, we ended up selling one for like half of the price we paid for it. And like I told everybody right then, well, this is because people don't know what to expect. They said it was going to be a smaller scale BlizzCon. I didn't feel like it was, like as far as the floor. Like the floor looked great, everything looked great. Like, but I said next year tickets will be much harder to get because people will be like, okay, they did it. It was good last year. They're going to do it good again. Tickets will go back up to being harder to get. Like this is a product of you announcing it way too late. People, you know, not having time to properly plan. It's a big expense. So people had probably already planned to go to TwitchCon instead. That was in Vegas this last year, which was a huge draw. Like there's a lot of these things that like, I don't think they factored in on why they didn't sell, but that was a problem. It was still packed as hell there though. It was so, it's not about announcing stuff at these, for me at least. Like it's about getting to see people that you play with in game, like, and get them to see them IRL and getting to just talk to like-minded nerds that you've never met. Like it's a magical fucking thing. Like it's so cool. And not only just for us, like I'll make the case that the WoW Classic devs, they're probably a little different than the devs of the other Blizzard products, but that's just my guess. But they got so fueled by the excitement of everybody. You know, they deal with like the forums and Twitter and all this shit of people just shitting on them constantly. And we're building them up like throughout this whole 3-day process. You can see the energy in them. We talked to them after you know, at the end of the day, they came and hung out at Hilton, you know, with a ton of us. And all of these devs, I'm not going to name names, but all of them were so pumped because everybody was so pumped. And I believe that fuel is still fueling them right now, you know, 6 months after the event. Like, and so it's not just for your fans, it's for your employees. And I know I just went on a long monologue about it, but super passionate about this, and I really just feel like they've made a mistake. But I'm gonna let somebody else talk. Whoever wants to jump in.
You think it's Microsoft's fault?
Maybe
that they don't want another big controversy, right? Like
I think they just might be looking at numbers and revenue. And you knew that this one was going to make way less revenue because they didn't sell alcohol. Like.
I don't know how much they made on alcohol.
Oh God,
but
$12 beers, they made a fortune. Yeah. You saw everybody walking around, those dumbasses with those $12 beers. Like we didn't have $12 beers, we had flasks.
We maybe got one.
Yeah, like, but still, like that's a huge revenue loss, you know. And would have been nice if they would have just left that in so that Microsoft could have seen revenue, right? Like. I don't know.
Who makes revenue?
I'm going to walk away so other people can talk so I don't interrupt anybody.
I've never been to BlizzCon, so.
I went in 2019 and it was super awesome. I don't want to go to another one because I have money to do it now. I was kind of a broke kid back then. But yeah, now I have YouTube money I could save up for. But yeah, the big thing is getting able to meet everybody. Whenever I went, the guys that I played with on private servers from like Sweden and stuff showed up. That was really, really cool to meet some of them. But I didn't do a lot of BlizzCon stuff. I just kind of like showed up and like, I don't know, left. I didn't want to spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's sad to see it go. I saw an Asmongold clip video of him being like, this is going to be the last BlizzCon. But I mean, Maybe. I don't know if it's like the War Within there isn't that much hype, and like I don't know how much retail players carry the BlizzCon hype, but yeah, I hope it doesn't go, because it's a really good thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you,
I mean, they said
you're
that they're
exactly right
Stop.
though. Oh, sorry.
Let me talk.
Well, but just to hit on the not doing the stuff, like, is pretty much par for the course. Like, we would usually watch all the panels on the way home while we're on the airplane, because we didn't want to lose that time with friends talking and chatting and seeing cosplayers. But sorry, Mel, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it does say that they want to bring it back. I think right now, like, our community's in a different spot than maybe a lot of other Blizzard communities, right? Like, Overwatch League kind of went downhill. I don't even think they are doing Overwatch League anymore, are they?
I haven't looked into it. I believe last I had heard, they were offering people to buy out of it, to get out of it. Like, it's definitely much more small scale now. I really haven't looked at, I mean, that's a problem, right? I used to love it. I haven't looked into it at all.
So, like, Overwatch in general, I think, has lost a lot of player base. I think that, retail WoW, I'm not sure that the War Within has hit as well as they would have wanted it to. I don't know that for sure. So I could be wrong on that. But then you look at the other games like Diablo, they haven't come out with a new like hit game in a really long time, right? So they're like, at this point, like, I feel
Warcraft
like
Rumble's pretty fun.
BlizzCon
I'm not gonna lie.
yeah, sure, it is fun,
But it's a
I
mobile.
don't know that it's bringing in the revenue that another type of it probably is, because it's a mobile game. But I think in all reality, like, BlizzCon was at its peak when Warcraft was really popular, Overwatch was really popular, StarCraft was really popular, Diablo fans still were waiting for the next Diablo and really popular, right? And at this point, like, how many of the Blizzard games are still really booming? And can they justify putting together this huge exhibit for people that will probably come, whether they're currently playing the games or not, right? Like, they're probably going to come, and that's great, but they lose money on BlizzCon, right? And they can justify losing money on BlizzCon if they're making enough money throughout the year. They can't justify losing money on BlizzCon if they're losing money during the year as well, right?
Well, I feel like you could step down BlizzCon. Like, you don't have to have it be this massive, like,
I think that's more of a mistake. I think you change the way you present BlizzCon, and all of a sudden it's like the image looks really bad, right? If you're like, we're going to do a small BlizzCon this year and just have it like in a smaller area with less people, like, that just looks like we're not doing well, we're cutting costs, right? And how do you ever get back to that next level? It's better, in my opinion, to cancel it. They did say that they were going to try to do different events, but then they went on to say things like Gamescom and things like that, like things that are already cons that they're going to have a bigger presence at potentially. So I don't know how exciting that is, but
they need to bring Deadmau5 and Rave. That's how you bring BlizzCon back.
Can we just have a classic con?
Yeah,
like,
cool.
I think that's what we need, like a classic con.
I mean, all they really need, is just some new things, like the regular things they would have on a PTR. They let people play those, but honestly, I think those are the worst part of the event.
Exploited it, yeah.
Well, I think that's the one of the worst parts of the event is trying to play the new thing. Like, people wait in those lines for hours instead of like going and seeing all the other stuff. I mean, they've got all this crazy statues, arts, everything, like to set the floor up still. Like, there's should be just a celebration of the games instead of like, oh, what's this new thing? Like, I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like
just like a regular Comic-Con.
The atmosphere though really sets the stage for the BlizzCon, right? Like, you get there and you feel like this is just the coolest thing you've ever seen, right? And I think that that's special. I think that even though I don't love walking around the floor and like looking at all the Diablo stuff, it's still very cool when I go in there to be like, wow, this is awesome. And it's smoky, and it was like really cool last year. And I think the same thing, I feel like the, I don't know, extravagance of it is a part of the feeling you get when you go there. I think if it was like a Planet Comic-Con, like here in Kansas City, which is big, it just feels more like a bunch of people coming together to
Planet Comic-Con's bigger than BlizzCon, like by a huge amount. Like that's what BlizzCon was always. That's why it was always hard to get tickets, because they like specifically. And I think they tried to sell more tickets than they ever did before this year, because it was still just as crowded as every year.
Yeah, but it did not seem less crowded this year.
Yeah, it seemed exactly the same almost. And like that was the exclusivity they were selling you with the ticket prices. The fact that you wouldn't be like nut to butt with like sweaty nerds that haven't showered in 7 days, right? Like that was the draw of it, that you were going to be able. Whereas Planet Comic-Con, I mean, Saturdays here in Kansas City, like there's more people that travel through that, like probably 10 times the amount that's at BlizzCon, right? But it's also a ginormous hall, bigger than the one in Anaheim. So,
did they even do arena tournaments at the BlizzCon last year?
So they did. It was different though. Like the BlizzCon last year. So like the years before, they had stages all over the hall, right?
Yeah, very esports driven for the 5 years.
Yeah, and esports has been on the downtrend, especially with, I guess, Blizzard games.
Yeah. But they did have, like, it was like a single track almost. Like in years past, it was like you could see like from 10 to 11, there was something going on in the Warcraft area. There was something going on in the Overwatch area. There was something going on in the,
Hearthstone
Diablo area.
Dude, I played Hearthstone when it first launched, and I loved watching the BlizzCon Hearthstone tournaments and
the guy that was
missing lethal, like everything.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing though, is like all these games that like were so beloved, I feel like have kind of hit their level. And I think potentially, like, I'm going to try to be optimistic here, potentially they're just saying, let's push for a good year to get the hype back up for the Blizzard games, and then we can bring BlizzCon back if we've got it right. Whether that means we get the hype back up for the current Blizzard games, or we say put all our eggs in this other Blizzard game. I don't know, they just canceled the strategy game or whatever that one was, so I don't know where we're at there, but it's interesting. So
yeah.
They didn't release Season of Discovery. Would they have had a BlizzCon last year? Because that was real hype.
I mean, the War Within was supposed to be super hype.
It was pretty hype for retail players, like there. And Season of Discovery came out of nowhere for us. Like, we had no idea. And I'll be honest, me and Sarth and everybody were kind of sitting there, like Jordy, like sitting there at the opening ceremony. We're like, huh? Season of Discovery?
We all like looked at each other and we were like, do we like this?
Yeah, and then we
cool?
then we went and Crix tricked the people at the SoD booth into letting us cut the line and play. It was a combination of me and Crix. Crix was like dropping devs' names at the line, and I just flashed our media wristbands. I was like, we're media. We're supposed to try it now so we can, get on writing our articles. And he was like, oh, okay, good job. And so we just went in, we played me and Ampi and Showbeck and freaking Mel and Cargos and only and I forget if Winky was there. I don't know. There was a bunch of people there, and we played. We were like, oh, this is cool. And then when we went to the panel later on in the day, the actual SoD panel, we were sold at that point, right? We were super sold. It was just like the opening ceremony. Kind of like, it really didn't awe me at all. I was like, okay. But Then when I actually got it made sense, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, I think it was just so unexpected, to be honest. I felt like we all went there with the thought that we were going to hear about Kata Classic as like this big reveal. Like we didn't actually think it was coming, right? Like
we thought maybe there'd be changes to Kata that people have been asking for. But I think Oprah hit it on the nail, though. When we were at BlizzCon, we were talking to all different fans of different games, and they were basically saying, well, this is the WoW, BlizzCon, like WoW Classic, WoW Hardcore, WoW, retail. Like it was just like the WoW one. And I was like, yeah, okay. But so maybe it was better for us than it was for other people. I don't know. All I know is that it's a huge thing for developers to actually have people come up to them and tell them that they love what they do and everything else. I think it fuels them. I think it's always been something that have fueled them over the years. And that's why Blizzard did excel for a long time. I think it did fall into the trap of they got too many new people that didn't understand the old guard, didn't understand the ways, and kind of got full of themselves before they really accomplished anything. They got full of themselves because they just became part of the team. And I think that's where it kind of fell into disarray, but I'm just bummed.
Yeah, I'm just bummed. It was one of, the most fun things we did every year. And I think it's every year there was like new people that got to come for the first time, which was really fun too, right? Like you got to help them enjoy their experience as well. So I don't know. It's a bummer, but I mean, I think
I think the esports
thing.
thing has a huge factor. How, like, I don't know how everything works. Like, I'm sure the team's paid to be there, right? And if they're not, I mean, they've been doing it all online. They've just been doing it like people are streaming from their home in these tournaments now instead of being on stage. And
to be honest, I think COVID almost ruined that aspect of it because they've realized they could save more money and still get the same kind of result, right? Like,
but will they get the same result over a long term? I don't know.
Yeah,
I think the viewerships of AWC and the PvE one, I don't even know what it's called, has went down a lot for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Blizzard had, I think StarCraft was pretty big for a long time, right? What was the other one that was like the MOBA?
Heroes of the Storm.
Heroes of the Storm. That one was big for a little while. And then
Hearthstone was huge for a while.
Mm-hmm. Hearthstone was big for a while, yeah.
That fell off a cliff.
Well,
yeah.
Well, we said like we used to do, all of our shows used to be about Overwatch before we came to Classic, like Overwatch League recap. Mel was on the Cavalry, I was on Watchpoint Radio. Like we covered the games, and we said so many times, like Blizzard's making a huge move here with the Overwatch League, and the Overwatch League has a chance to push esports into a next level. It also has the chance to put esports back a decade because of the possible failure. And I blame COVID for that. Like we didn't even get a chance. We had our 3-year plan to get 2 home stands, had 1, maybe 2 home stands before COVID shut everything down. And then they started changing rules weekly, and Overwatch League just went to shit. And yeah, they weren't playing on LAN anymore. They were playing, over the internet, which caused all kinds of different problems. It was a big loss, like a huge loss. And the esports as a whole suffers from it right now. But I think they did. Yeah, I haven't thought about Heroes of the Storm in a while. There was a lot of people that thought that was like a bad move. Like it seemed like it was actually going somewhere.
I used to be so big on that game. I won so many amateur tournaments and stuff, but it just, it's not League of Legends,
Yeah. Well,
the OTK hardcore tournament had hell of viewership, though. There's like almost
that was huge.
200,000 people watching. Like, I was in qualifying. I didn't make the stream, and I went 2 and 3 in qualifying, and I needed to go 3 and 2 to qualify for the main day. So I almost made it. I was really close.
Dude, OTK is in a good spot right now where they really could help esports out big time if they were to like throw more events on just different things. Like, they have that power with the streamers that they have and stuff. That is something that maybe they, Blizzard could partner with them. Nah, that's not going to happen.
I mean, I love Soda Poppin'. I've actually been I'm a huge Soda Poppin' fan. I used to watch Soda, Reckful, Mitch Jones, and Zaryu back in the day. And Snuts, actually. Snuts was one of the first streamers I watched 10 years ago. And it's awesome to see Snuts still active when he is active. And I do like how Soda Poppin' and Asmongold are more focused on variety gaming and giving the small games a shot, and the limelight. They're reviewing. I watched their video on handing out money to developers or whatever making the games, and that's so cool to see.
Yeah, it's actually crazy to think about. Early Twitch was kind of built off of World of Warcraft streamers, right? Kind of was.
We were
with Justin TV and stuff. And before that, what was it? I don't remember. There was owned 3D TV.
Yeah, Justin TV was that was Twitch's original name.
Mm-hmm.
But if you think about it, the big ones, tons of the huge streamers all started streaming in WoW. And it's crazy if you look at
WoW and StarCraft and League, a lot of those.
Well, if you look at gaming podcasts, right? This podcast, is pretty much always in the top 200 gaming podcasts in the United States, and sometimes top 100. But if you look at it, there's I think World of Warcraft, if you just put all the World of Warcraft Classic and retail and all the podcasts, they have the biggest presence of any game, I believe. I'm not positive on this, but I'm pretty sure there's 20 World of Warcraft ones in the top 200 weekly, because it changes.
Really?
It changes every 24 hours, who's where you're at on the chart. But yeah, it's way more World of Warcraft podcasts are super popular. And I just wonder if it's because of when Overwatch was huge, there was one, maybe two top 200 podcasts. Our boy I Play Games did the most popular podcast, Omnic Lab. But I think it's because World of Warcraft gaming, it's a great game to grind and listen to a podcast while you grind, rather than where
more social.
Yeah, Overwatch, I'm not going to listen to a podcast while I play because I have to listen to team calls constantly. Attention. Yeah, I wouldn't listen to a podcast while I was doing team-based Arathi Basin, but I would if I was doing Arathi Basin solo, right? So yeah, that's why I think it is, but it's funny. I just thought about that. Yeah.
I didn't realize there were that many. That's crazy.
Yeah, there's a ton of retail podcasts. There's not a ton of classic podcasts, or else ours probably wouldn't be in the top 200. Oh man, but yeah, I think there's only two on audio platforms I think it's just me and it's just us and Countdown to Classic that are always in the top 200.
What about Scotty J's thing, the cubicle?
He doesn't put it on audio. I've tried to help.
Like it's a YouTube thing.
Yeah, I've tried. I helped Crix and Sarth, and they put theirs on they put Classic Life on for a bit. I've tried to help every creator that I know put it on audio because it's just it's a completely different fan base, and so like you're just tapping into a different market, and they just like they do it for a bit and then don't do it like. And I think Sarth, it makes sense because usually when he does his podcast, him and Crix, like they have a lot of visual aids, and I try not to do that to increase our YouTube. Like it would probably increase our YouTube viewership, but like it would alienate our audio listeners. So they're just looking for conversation, not like how to be the best at this. They'll like tips and tricks, but they're just looking for people talking about the game, So whereas Sarth and Crix try to like make their podcast more often than not, when, about like how to min-max, do the best things possible. It's more of a guide podcast than just a shooting the shit podcast. So I kind of get it on their front, but yeah, it's just, I've tried to help everybody that I could. Where were we at? Oh, yeah, we were just at BlizzCon. All right, we're going to have to move on to the next part. So this is weird. Hunter adjustments made. Okay, so I'm not going to go through all of the changes, but they're basically trying to make ranged hunter better. But something that really upset me when I was reading this blue post is in general, we intend to improve the ranged play style and diminish the melee play style so that the two become more equivalent. And this is a broad topic that really gets my gourd. Okay. Why the fuck do they need to be equivalent? I feel melee should always do more damage because you're in the shit. Like, no one's ever given me like a good reason to not, unless you're just talking PvE. And I don't think if the game is like balanced to where everybody does the same damage, then why the hell are you ever going to play melee? Why?
Well, some people just like melee more.
Yeah, I like melee more too. But like, it's way easier to get away from like, and I am talking PvP. Oftentimes, ranged has more to do in a raid, more movement required. This oftentimes leads to less DPS too. But I'm talking about PvP. Like, if a ranged hunter does just as much damage as a melee hunter, then why the hell am I ever going to play melee in PvP? It's just dumb.
I see most of the hunters I come across are using ranged in PvP.
Because ranged is always better in PvP.
Yeah. Yeah. They melee whenever you're within range. So if they make range better, it's just going to suck for everybody else.
Yeah.
Because they already do so much damage.
Yeah. And on top of it, everybody gets
their
armor,
pets doing
right?
all the damage. Pet's doing all the damage, really. And
there's a big hunter build right now that's using Beastmaster, and they're just trying to get that first push. It's really strong on the first push. Like, you basically just take out the healers, focus with 3 pets, and like use Bestial Wrath and kill command, and then like the healer is just dead. That has been kind of a little meta thing, but I don't understand this world where everybody is supposed to do the same amount of damage, no matter what class they are or it just makes no sense to me. Like, if you are going to be ranged, in the history of ranged combat in games, I've always found the range to be glass cannons, like to where if you get to them, like they do a shit ton of damage at range, but if you get to them, they're dead, right? Period.
Yeah.
And then I've seen like in the middle where, they're still they're still pretty durable, but they don't do as much damage. But I just don't understand this want to make the two play styles equivalent when one is so much easier to stay away. And if you tell me people just want PvE, like, and the PvP population is small, I just don't think it is that small. I think it's small in later versions of WoW, but I don't think it's small in Classic. Like, yeah, and then on top of that, melee gets like you get more armor, right? Gear and stamina, but you never get more resist really on a lot of different like pieces of armor. Sorry. Go ahead, Mel.
No, I was just saying I think it's about just like people being able to play more so what they want to play instead of if melee or ranged or in the meta, right?
A lot of hunters would rather be a hunter and be ranged 100%. Like, I think a lot of hunters are off put by the fact that they should be melee in PvE.
Yeah.
But there's still I don't know. Maybe I should just take us.
Blizzard isn't focused on PvP. They're focused on PvE. Like, PvP is just a part of the game, but they're not trying to really balance. I mean, that's why we have a damage reduction now, because they don't want to change the PvE side too much. And the best way, I mean, I think Enhancement Shaman are actually in a really good spot with the damage reduction for one. Like, the longer uptime I have, the more likely I'm going to have more procs, Windfury procs, and just more likely that I do more damage. I don't know. It definitely feels really good to not die instantly. And I've been doing pretty good in PvP this past couple of days.
Well,
yesterday.
I think so I think there's nothing wrong with, like, people want to see themselves at the top, but I think you should just know if you have a ton of utility for the raid, and like, that's a huge thing, and you're in range. Like, for instance, or like you're saying, like, you are not you're saying, but people would say, like, okay, well then why would you take ranged at all? Well, you build fights that have, in PvE, that have mechanics that make it so you have to bring them, like Erraticus. Like, if there's not at least 4 ranged outside of the boss, then melee is going to get like the sleep clouds put in them, right? Like, those types of mechanics stop you from stacking all melee, right? Then things like melee hunter, you could be melee hunter, or you could be ranged hunter and really buff your melee group with 150 more AP. Like, these are huge things. And you could also have it where each boss has a different damage type, not resistance, but weakness. So this boss takes a shit ton more nature damage than any other boss. This boss takes a shit ton more fire. And, and like, incentivize people to diversify the raid. Yes, the super sweaties running for speed runs will be doing, class swaps, but let them do it. Who cares? Like, for your average raid, you're going to want to bring, like, a good roundabout comp.
Just have Chromagus buffs on all the fucking bosses where it's just a random chance on who does more damage.
I don't know about that.
That would be a little, like, putting it a little rough, but I mean, it would be cool to have everybody be like, all right, this is my fight. I'm going to be at the top of the list because this is fire damage. Hell yeah. It would give them different things, but it wouldn't fuck over PvP, because if you make range do as much damage as melee, then you just want to be ranged so that you live longer. Like, that's why ranged in your five-man groups, usually the ranged people in your group you'll talk about how much coins you made in STV, the ranged almost always made more coins than the melee in the same group, even with you guys rezzing every time together. Like, melee is just going to die sooner, like, and that's just the way it is. Like, so there's got to be a trade-off for that. And here, I'm going to take us into...
Bobby, we need to have a talk about this World of Warcraft Classic. Do I look like I know what a WoW token is?
So I'm looking at this, right? I'm looking at this DPS chart. It'll be linked in the description of the podcast, guys. But it looks right to me. Melee Hunter, DPS Warrior, Rogue, Enhancement Shaman. These are all at the top. DPS Paladin a ways back, but I almost argue that maybe Enhancement Shaman should be back a little bit and DPS Paladin should be up a little bit just because of all the things they bring to the raid, right? Like all the different utility, and Feral Druid should probably be up a bit, right? But not too much because they bring a ton of, to the raid. Like, but Ranged Hunter, Fire Mage, Frost Mage, DPS Warlock, like these all look like they're in a good spot. Enhancement Shaman and Balanced Druid, I think, could probably use like a boost up. Maybe DPS Priest too, but like this looks pretty good to me. Like, what do you guys think? Like, do you guys think? Like, do you guys disagree with me? It's okay if you do. Like that. Do you think everybody should be doing the same DPS, like, or close to it?
I have kind of a weird take on it, I guess. I think it really has nothing to do with DPS. I think each class does two things in SoD, for better or worse. Everybody does two things.
Mm-hmm.
And so they needed to put in a second thing. And like I don't know, I guess. So like last phase, Melee Hunter was really good. I don't think they want it to be really good this phase. And they're clearly basing Ranged Hunter off of Wrath of the Lich King Hunter. Because if it was based on TPC Hunter, then Steady Shot wouldn't be garbage. I don't know why it like resets Chimera Shot instead of Explosive Shot, because they changed it to be like an AoE now. But like, I think just a developer really likes Wrath of the Lich King Hunter, and that's why. I don't think it has anything to do with like how the game should be. I think that's just it. And I think every class just kind of has two things to do. Like Rogue's tank for literally no reason, and there's no developmental resources or energy being put into like making it better. And the same thing for like Melee Hunter. Like Melee Hunter does great numbers, but the rotation is just complete trash. It just resets the same ability all the time. It's not going to build out that spec. It's like, I think of it like Melee Hunter is the tank rogue of Rogue. You know what I mean? It's like the mage healer. It's like just a bonus thing that it can do because the developers were having fun. But like, if they actually wanted to give hunters a like higher DPS melee version, it would be like real, like Wing Clip would have a chance to reset Flanking Strike or something like that. That way you can't just get like horrible RNG. Then it's like if all of your RNG fails, you can rely on Wing Clip and I don't know, you could have a guarantee reset something or something like that. But I think they want it to be under Ranged Hunter, and they want Melee to be like, well, if you're really into that kind of thing, you can do it. Like there's people that
sucks.
Yeah.
It's like,
I mean, I like the Ranged Hunter, but I would vastly prefer Steady Shot. I love Steady Shot, but it's like, it's still like, it's literally lock and load it's the same thing. So I don't know, but a developer really likes it, so it's going to be pretty broken. You know, it just gets buffed every patch. But I don't know. I don't want to be super negative and just be like blame the developers for everything, but that's what I honestly think.
Well, their lock and load has it killed our raid on Eranicus 3 times. The one I ran on my hunter, we had a ranged hunter. Wow. Well, because since with the trap launcher rune, you now split up and your frost and fire traps are on their own separate cooldowns.
Yeah, so you're throwing frost traps for pretty much no reason.
Yes,
just to reset your
and
shot.
Those frost traps make it impossible to see the stage 3. The
sleeping things, the clouds.
No, well, that makes it harder to see those, but it makes it impossible to see the ones that do 1,000 damage per second. The acid rain.
Oh yeah,
those, acid rain.
Yeah, those are just like little green parentheses on the ground.
But they have to, I mean, if they want best DPS, they have to use it. How do you tell a parse monkey to not do a move that's going to give him DPS? You know, it's just like, but it covers the ground with like, and then you can't see other shit.
It's like the at the beginning of the phase, the void zone thing, the giant circle thing, and they changed it.
Oh, thank God they changed it. It was so bad.
Yeah, it reminds me of that. But I think you can use either frost or freezing, the ice cube one, right? Even if it's immune, I think that still resets it. You just need it to trigger.
I think. Okay, so the Rage Setter might not have known, but he said, at least the Rage said at that time, that it didn't. If it gets resisted, then it doesn't go. And I guess like the freezing trap gets resisted because it's on a boss and can't be frozen. Now I bet they could freeze trap one of the ads. I bet that would reset it. But you can't freeze trap the boss. Not always ads. Yeah, you can't freeze trap the boss. So I think it doesn't reset because it doesn't actually hit anything. I think that's what they were saying. But that might, if that's the case, then that would just fix the problem there. But you know, if you were doing it and they were on the same cooldown, you know, fire and the frost and freezing, then you would just do fire trap and like, you know, you just wouldn't have as many resets of what is it, aim shot or what? Oh, chimera shot.
I think it's aim shot and chimera shot. But yeah,
it's just your next shot ability. Yeah, your next shot ability, whichever one you use.
But I mean, we might be getting snake trap. Maybe that'd be cool. I don't think so, but that'd be another one.
Oh wow. Yeah, that'd be another one you could just throw in there. But I don't know. I just feel like maybe they will just try to make Melee Hunter the PvP spec, but you're still gonna have Marksman Hunter in PvP, and it's just probably gonna be better, like as far as overall. So if they really make ranged better than melee, like I might be done with my hunter. I'm not sure. Like
really?
Yeah, just really for PvP. I do agree with you. The PvE rotation is pretty boring, especially compared to like all the different ways I can play my rogue right now, and just have you know, so much more complexity to what I'm doing with the, you know, with bubbles. But Melee Hunter in PvP is so freaking fun, man. It's so freaking fun. I'm sure I'd probably like, I mean, it was Ranged Hunter in phase 1 when I fell in love, but I was doing melee weaving, which I thought was really neat. And, you know, and then when Melee Hunter came out, I wasn't actually even going to do it. But then I just, like, I was watching Maui doing PvP with this one spec and doing it with a two-hander. And I was like, and I won the two-hander and I went and tried it and I just fell in love with the gameplay. Like, so I don't know.
I think it's pretty fucked up that two-hander hunter is, you say that about two-handed hunter, but then two-handed shaman still just does not feel as good as dual wielding.
I'll tell you though, Oprah.
Shaman community is pissed.
So I would actually blow people up a lot more in PvP if I dual wielded. Okay.
Yeah.
The only reason that I can't bring myself to dual wield in PvP is because the dual wield rune is where trap launcher is. And trap launcher, allowing you to launch traps at a distance while in combat, is too good to pass up in PvP. Like, I'm fighting somebody's coming, I'm still fighting them, and I just launch a freezing trap and stop them from even coming towards me at all. Then on top of that, if I have wyvern shot, somebody comes from the other direction, I stop them too. Then I'm able to kill off the one guy. Then my freeze trap's up again, so I freeze trap the wyvern guy, go after kill the other guy. Then I freeze trap him again, heal. Like, you see what I mean? Like the
and then here I am 1v3 on everybody as a shaman, and
yeah, the cooldown is so slow. Like, or the cooldown is so fast. So
we need Hex, god damn it.
So like I would do more damage straight up, like, and I would blow people up faster if I did dual wield for sure. But I just can't give up being able to like CC so many people, and so many people in PvP. Like, I find it hilarious when people like look at the killing blows at the end. Like, those stats really don't matter. Like, the stat that matters is how many times you died. Like, you want that to be like golf, low, and like killing blows matters, but you have to look at like what allowed you to get those killing blows. Did you have really good heals? Did you have really good CC? CC wins games. Like, you look at arenas and everything else, like blinds, all of these things win games. Saps, like, these are the types of things that actually win. So trap launcher is a no-brainer for me. So because of that, actually dual wielding does more damage in that scenario. But if I was gonna get rid of trap launcher, I would probably have a lot more killing blows, but I'd probably lose a lot more games. So I don't know.
As a shaman, we just zug harder.
Zug harder.
We don't have any CC at all.
But you have CC breaks. I mean,
we break a lot of CC. Correct?
Yeah, which is awesome. Like, that's another, that's your strength.
Like your trap, we break the people out of that with our chain lightning. So we definitely break a lot of CC.
Yep. You also break bubbles, like
or pop.
Yep. And then
we purge pop.
But grounding totem stops fears, like,
well,
is it grounding totem? Or is it,
that's tremor. That's
tremor.
Mm.
So like,
grounding totem gets eaten up pretty quick by something useless.
Yep. But yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna stop whining about melee DPS needing to be better. But the last thing I wanted to talk about was the new damage reduction test. And this started just yesterday. The damage reduction, from what most of us have been able to gather, is 30% damage reduction. However, I find the test to be a little bad because on top of the damage reduction, we still have the health bonus. So I still fully buffed, went in with 6,800 health and a 30% damage reduction. So I feel like we should have tested the damage reduction. And I know the damage reduction is working in the open world too, but that's the only place to really test it right now. Or do they plan to keep the health buff in there too? Which I really hope the health buff goes, because unless they're going to make new food, I can't handle freaking having to heal that, like, with eating 5 times. Like, it's just absolutely nuts. But you said you've played it some? I know Oprah has, but he just had to step away. Have you played any, Kippzo, since the change?
No, I haven't really PvP'd at all. I see clips of it, of like people just not dying at all, and there's millions of Reddit posts. I don't get why it's like healing isn't reduced at all. That seems insanely stupid.
Don't take my healing away. Get out of here.
I think it's just people have too many. Like, I really think that it was an oversight to test this and not take out the health buff. Like,
yeah, I mean, didn't they make the same mistake in phase 1 where like the reduction or the health increase, like, or whatever it was, I don't remember, it didn't apply to pets or heals. So it was just like, okay, well, heals and pets are gonna be really broken then. I don't know what we're trying to do here. It seems kind of AIDS, but
yeah, well, I can tell you, Mel and I played a game last night that was interesting. So for every alliance that complains about shamans blowing them up, right? Well,
Dude,
we horde
paladins.
Yeah, we horde complain about paladins that come in. You have to knock them down to nothing. They bubble. You have to knock them down to nothing. They lay on hands. You have to knock them down to nothing, and then you finally kill them. Now, this is oppressive and stops you from getting caps, and people don't know how to spin when combat's going on. Like, guys, word to the wise. Always be spinning. Always be spinning. One person should be spinning. Like, not everybody. Definitely not everybody during a team fight. There are times when nobody should be spinning, like because of different reasons, but most of the time, everybody be spinning on a Arathi Basin. It's just like, it's
somebody be spinning.
Yeah,
not everybody.
Yeah, every group have one spinner at least, and so, but we went in. We had 9 pallies on our team. You wouldn't believe, or on the team against us, you wouldn't believe how long these fights went. Like literally, once we got our 3 bases, like as long as you just knocked them off spinning, like there was nothing that could be done because you're gonna kill them. They're gonna get back before you've killed everybody. Like you literally just like the fights lasted forever. I ended the game with 15 killing blows. I had 4 more than the next person. The next person was 11 killing blows. And usually a game that's 3-2, the majority of the game, is about 30 or so minutes. And the killing blows is 60 to 70, right? Like that's the top person. It brought us down to like 10 to 15 instead of 60 to 70. This just means the fights just went on. They went on forever. Like I felt like I couldn't die and they couldn't die. Like, and now I'm also in, like, my friend Kef said that it felt really good. And then I found out he was just PvP in assassination basic DPS spec. And I was like,
as soon as you said he felt it was really good, I immediately knew what you were going to say. I was like, he's just assassination, like DPSing the boss in Arathi Basin. That's what he's doing.
And I was like, it shouldn't feel good if you're in PvP or PvE spec. That's the whole point. That's why they gave us dual spec. Like, I was like, it shouldn't feel good in that. You should feel like a glass cannon that if you don't blow up the target, you're dead. Like, but you're living now, and I don't think you should be living. Like I'm playing subtlety combat, and have like I can disarm people. Like my rogue always felt good. My hunter always felt good. Like, but if these people wanted to like play BGs in DPS spec, maybe it's better now. But I really don't want the meta to going to doing too much PvE builds. Like.
It's fun having 2 different metas, I think, for people that like PvP. 2 different specs.
Shaman PvP and enhancement Shaman PvP versus PvE is like maybe like 5 talent points. So it's not that much different. Sorry, I had to go help my mom. She needed my help for a second, so
hey, no problem. Yeah, so what we were talking about is the damage reduction. I was telling Kippzo how, a 3-2 average Arathi Basin, you'd end in the top killing blows person would be like 60 to 70 kills. And I was the top killing blows person in our one last night, and it was 15 killing blows. Same amount of time, like, and it just felt like nobody could die at all. Like it was absolutely, there was 9 paladins on the team, but it was still just like absurd. Like, and Mel couldn't die healing. Like, I understand healers don't want to get just blown up immediately, but I feel like this was a bad test because they kept the stamina buff in as well as putting the 30% damage reduction in. So it's like 30% stamina buff and 30% damage reduction. So it just felt
if you have a healer, if there's an unbalance of healers right now with the damage reduction, it's going to be one-sided for sure. Like last night I had a we had 4 people in my group, and we had one really good healer. We did like 2 or 3 Warsong Gulches, and we were just like, I think I went like 19-0 or something, like, and we were just rolling them. We were basically just graveyard camping the games by the end. And like I said, I had the Darkmoon Fair buff, and I had I was in the Sunken Temple buff. So I was just on fire. I mean, I'd walk up to somebody and just destroy them last night.
Well, because that's another. Oh my god, I can't even imagine if I had another 8% stats on my hunter. I'd have 8,500 health. No, probably 7,500 health. Like, that's absolutely absurd.
Then I grabbed Zerker, and I was just walking wherever I wanted to walk and kill whoever I wanted to kill, and but I mean, to be fair, like a week ago, the Warsong Gulch games felt like that too. It's just like the hardcore Alliance PvPers, like, you can tell when they're queuing versus when they're not queuing. Because like when there's good Alliance on the other side, like, we lose, and because Horde don't really play together. Like, everyone's just kind of doing their own thing most of the time.
Yeah, and, I find when I'm playing with just 1 or 2 people or 3 people, we just try to follow what our pugs are doing to try to maximize how to win the game. Because you're right, they just are doing their own thing. We're like, all right, well, I'll go help this group of 2 that's just heading by themselves to stable.
Yeah, I found in like Arathi Basin, I found like Horde just wanted to PvP and get killing blows and not really play the fucking game.
Yeah, that's like Bob. Last night we were playing, and it had been a long night, so I get it. But he's like, okay, I'm bored. You want to go to do this? I was like, no, we are guard. There are 3 of us here at the lumber mill. We just need to stay here at the lumber mill. He was like, well, we can maybe go get stables. And it was like, our team is not good enough for that. Like, we fought for these 3 bases. And we needed to keep them.
I just wanted to test more, like, because it was crazy. Like, how little damage was being done to me and how little damage I was doing to them. Like, as far as just, seeing their health bar go down. Like, it was just absolutely crazy. And healers, I mean, they said in the blue post they didn't want to make healers as oppressive. But now, like, you might as well not even queue with, like, 3 of your friends unless at least one of them's a heal. Because, like, if you get in a game...
Did they really say that?
In the blue post, it says... We tried something like this in phase 1, but it felt like the heals were too oppressive because of it. Something like that. It says it.
Doesn't this just do that again, though? Like, I don't get it.
It does, yeah. It takes a second to heal somebody to full. Not eat to full. It takes an hour and a half to eat to full. But to heal someone to full, and like bandages, you can get the 2K bandages from like Arathi Basin, like the Quartermaster.
That's like 1/10 of your health.
Yeah,
even if you're full channel,
it's like a 25% of like my hunter's health, right? Like, it's just like, okay. And then the food heals 2,000 over 25 seconds or something. It's like, okay. I feel like I really wish they had turned off the stamina buff. Who knows? Maybe it's turned off now. Maybe I didn't see any posts though, because they did it over the weekend, of course. So, but I don't know how they just missed that simple fact of maybe they didn't want to test too much at once. They wanted to test it with that, and then maybe the next weekend they would test it without that, with the damage reduction. But I feel like because of that extra health, because it is a good amount of extra health, like I go from fully buffed, like 4,800 health or whatever, fully buffed, and then I go into BGs and I shoot up to, and hunters might be weird because of it and because of my spec, because I get more health from my spec too, and then the double kings, but like I jump up like 2,500 health jumping into a BG or an STV. So I don't know if that is the problem, and that's why everybody's living. Like, I think the damage reduction might work if we don't have the health buff too.
Here, I don't know if you want to pull this up or not, but here's a 1 minute clip. I just went and clipped it from last night with the world buffs and the Zerker, and it was insane.
Yeah, we can't really show it to. I could stick it in the show notes so that people can see it.
Yeah.
But I can't really
that's with the damage reduction. But also I had a healer with me, so.
You had a healer and you had world buffs, right?
Yeah. And Zerker.
Yeah. That is
so nuts. It felt really good. Felt really good for me. Maybe not for the other people.
But I'm curious to see how you'll feel going in without the world buffs. It
feels like I'm nerfed.
Yeah, do we want to have it to where everybody's trying to make sure to queue with the buffs again, right? I don't know. Because we had to queue with buffs because of the movement speed buff in phase 1. And I would argue that was very bad, because as soon as you would lose that, it'd just be like, okay, well, we lost the game.
Yeah.
That movement speed buff was really good, but I also had Ghost Wolf, so it wasn't that big of a deal.
Yeah, for
me. Buff. I wish all the world buffs gave the move speed, to be honest.
I know.
It's just too OP. I said at phase 1, I was like, dude, they have to phase this out. I don't even want to do anything in the open world, leveling wise, without this speed buff. And then I would just want to give up if I lost it in a BG. The speed is so huge. And then it also, since it didn't stack with Pally speed buffs, and different classes speed buffs, people didn't even, that doesn't even distinguish them as a class, a Ret Pally is supposed to run faster than you. That's supposed to be a thing in the game, and it just wasn't happening.
Yeah, especially world buffs in PvP seems insanely stupid. I mean, all this stuff, healers are already extremely broken in Battlegrounds, and then all this stuff on top of it is just more wins for healers, damage reduction, increased health, world buffs. Oh, how do I keep my world buffs? Oh, my girlfriend's spam healing me. That's a good way. Okay. It all just stacks on top of each other and makes the average player's experience way worse, especially because there's no buff. It doesn't say it on your character, right? It's not explained to anybody when you start playing the game. Hey, this guy isn't dying because we just recently did this thing and blah, 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 blah. It's they have to look that up on their own. They're just going to feel like they're doing something wrong. And I don't know.
Imagine.
I'd rather just I don't know, not have that kind of stuff.
Imagine casual players that don't listen to podcasts, don't consume content.
There's a lot of them.
Got on. The majority of them, right? And they get on and they go into BGs this weekend and are like, what the fuck is going on? Am I in the Twilight Zone?
I mean, I did that. I was yesterday I killed somebody in the world and I was like, what the fuck is going on? Because my damage was just so much less than what it normally is.
Yep.
Yeah, it was pretty noticeable. And I'm surprised they didn't say how much the reduction is. I can't find that anywhere.
It's not anywhere, but I've had a lot of friends that have been they know what their stuff hits for normally, and most people are it feels like it reads as 30%. 30% is what I've heard from most people so far. But yeah, I just I just wish they would have tested it without the health, because it really just feels bad. Honestly, we were talking about it, world buffs in Battlegrounds, I just don't think any of them should work. I think if you got it on you, fine. But I don't think it should work in PvP. I don't think things like lips and free action potions should be a thing.
Nobody's walking around PvP with Darkmoon Fair buff. So I mean, I was lucky
there's you. Yeah.
I was lucky I didn't die. I mean, so a lot of healers will get sidetracked healing somebody else, and I'll outrange them, and then I overextend and die. But I had a good healer last night, so he didn't let me die.
In phase 1, when I would do a full 10-man, when I would do a full 10-man Warsong Gulch, I would be consumed the entire time, fully consumed. Everything I could possibly have: defense pot, rum, food buff, agi pot, strength pot. I mean, I'd have literally everything because I'd get to keep it for an hour, and usually about like 5 to 6 games, it would last for, because I didn't die, right? So like that made pre-mades stronger. A ton of people were doing that. So, that made pre-mades even stronger. But in BGs, like, we should just be allowed to use the shit that the BG guys sell us, like the little small potions. Like, we shouldn't be allowed to use all this intricate shit, like training dummies on pets.
Make it like
all
arena.
This. Yeah, like I really feel, and nobody seems to ever agree with me on this, but I think it'd make it so much better for the average player, because I do use a lot of consumes in BGs, and that's why I'm pretty sure with Arathi Basin, I'm at like an 85 to 90% win rate, even playing solo, like over P3 now that's on my hunter. I haven't done a ton on my rogue yet, so I can't really give anything on that, but I literally win almost every game I play Arathi Basin, whether I'm queuing with 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or even queuing 2 groups in the same time. Like, I'm winning most games, but lots of times it's because of preparation of consumes, and I just don't think it's fair.
Well, as a melee consumes, I lose consumables real fast, even in pre-mades, because I'm up front. So
yeah, taking all the damage.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think I don't know, if I'm like 1v1ing somebody and they fap, I just giggle and then just like, I don't care. Like, this guy spent money on me. Like, is he my girlfriend?
Pots.
I don't. Come on, man. Like, what? You care that much, man?
Yeah, and then you go against me, and I just purge it instantly. It's pretty funny when people fap against me. Like,
yeah, I kind of hate the preparation aspect of the game, even in raids and stuff. I like just outplaying people. I like just, but like if somebody has a ton of gear and they, like, you step in a frost trap that you didn't see, so you're in an ice cube, and then they aim shot you and they one shot you. There's no skill there. You didn't do anything wrong. Like, it's just like a lucky incident. It's not like they, I don't know, outsmarted you or anything. It's just like, oh well. Like, I don't know. Whenever that stuff happens to me, I just release and then run back to my body, and I don't think about it in the slightest. I'm just like, oh, okay. I just got, charge one shot. That guy must have had really good gear. Okay, I'll just go again. Because I have no idea what gear that guy had. He could have had full world buffs. He could have had 12 healers. He could have had, there's people who spend like thousands of dollars on gold. And am I going to compete with them? And they're just spamming faps, and they're using like a flask of the Titans. Like, you can't, like, no way. Like, there's already that stuff in PvE, and it's bad enough. I don't know. It's like one of the worst parts of WoW, in my opinion.
Yeah, it is.
I don't like Titan Flask in PvP, because I feel I've done it a few times, and then it's like, I feel like I don't actually utilize it the way other people do. And that shit's annoying. That shit's real annoying when people are full Titan Flask on the other side.
I will say, if there were more things that persisted through death, I would hate buffs less. Like, I would hate world buffs less if they persisted through death. Like, I hate when, like, it really bummed my night out. My first time out with my hunter, I got my 2, because I'm too poor to get 15 agi, but I got my 2 fiery enchants on my hunter. I was ready to go. I had every consume in the game. I had the best scrolls for my pet, which my pet usually gets to keep the scrolls, which is nice, because like I die and then my pet, like, is just there holding the scroll until I summon him back. But like, I had all this stuff, and then I died with the world buffs, like right there, and it's just like, man, all right, well, I'll do the best I can. And I did, but like a lot of people will completely give up at that point. Like I was like, no, I'm still going to do good. And I was second DPS, across all encounters, and I even died on 2 different bosses. Like, so like I still try my hardest to still consume, but lots of people don't. And like if world buffs and stuff persisted through death and stuff, like that could be more fun in BGs for me. Like, but at the same time, I just feel like BGs just shouldn't have that in there, that preparation. And PvE, I just really wish it persisted through death. I know people love the whole like, oh, well, if this speed run loses their buffs, then it's over. But that's just for the speed run. Like, I mean,
you lose enough time from dying that the speed run's over anyway. If you guys mess something up like that, it's over anyway. You need perfect. Need to do everything perfect RNG, and then you need no mess ups.
Yeah, like it. I don't know. I feel like the game would be a lot more fun if that stuff just persisted, and then and then sometimes there's even the opposite case. Like you pussyfoot it, like because you have buffs. You're like, okay, well, I'm not going to go balls to the wall because, I don't want to lose these buffs. So then you mess up your opener, so then you're not going to parse anyway because you like went slow on the opener. There's so many things that factor into like how buffs play on people's mental during a raid, and some people will just rage if they lose them.
You just need a better tank if you have to slow your DPS down.
Well, sometimes people don't have access to that, so yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's a little oppressive right now. I'm going to play more here after this podcast, and I don't know what you guys are doing, but I was going to look into getting some Arathi Basin runs in. Need to get my rank 7 on my hunter before, for the end of the week. But yeah, anything left over to say about the PvP stuff? Any ideas to make it better? Like,
I mean, I think with the damage reduction, I mean, taking the health buff away, that probably wouldn't hurt. Because it seems like I said, it seems like my damage is a lot less, and heals are still really fucking strong. So that in itself makes PvP feel bad.
And there is a lot of stamina on gear. Like, you should have to have a different PvP set. Like, it should be a different set for most classes. Like, there are, there are arguments to be made about different classes, like not needing as much.
I don't mind resilience. Like, if you're in full PvE gear, then you're going to get one shot. But if you're in PvP gear with resilience, then you're not going to get one shot. Like, I don't mind that at all.
See, I don't like resilience.
I hate resilience.
Yeah, I
hate it.
I don't want it that different. Like I do like I liked the 30% reduction that they did in phase 1. I actually thought that was fine, but then I got talked into a health buff being better, but I didn't see the problems with it going forward. Like, it sounded better to me because I was like, oh yeah, then you still get to see your big hits. It's the same amount of damage, right? But I didn't think about the fact that you would never be able to eat to full health in time. Like, you would much downtime on that. I just didn't foresee.
Well, that's why you just play with like 6 healers, and then they just heal you right back up, and you never have to worry about that. I think they should go in the opposite direction and just like give everybody burst, like sniper training, doing the free aim shot. That's so that you can't do it in PvP. I think it should be the opposite. Like, give hunters the instant aim shot all the time, because like, I don't know, they put in stuff like Arcane Surge and stuff like that. Why not just give everybody the burst, take away the damage reduction, and then everybody's kind of playing the same game? I feel like I like they did that with Plunder Storm. There's no preparation in Plunder Storm. You just get the things, so then whenever you get the abilities, everybody uses them in the same way. Everybody kind of has the same build. I get why it's not popular because it's retail stuff. I mean, retail players are playing it, but we're not playing it. But you can make BGs way similar to that, especially because we're adding so many new abilities. Like, but instead it's like some classes don't really have stuff that is good in PvP, and we just leave it like that, and then they complain, and then we alter the whole game. You know, like I don't know about that. I think we should just like give, you know, like Moonfire feels really good for druids, and then like what feels really good for paladins. I don't know, give them something.
Don't give paladins anything. No.
I mean, they have the like whenever your holy shot crits, it like resets. That doesn't even feel good because it's RNG. So like, I don't know, something like that but consistent would be cool. I don't know.
Yeah, Shaman's all RNG, so I know RNG way too well. It's and I have no defensives, no CC. I'm just reliant on RNG. So that's the Shaman in a nutshell.
Well, then there's also like weapon skill, which I learned something new just the other day that I never knew. And now my rogue, I've been struggling to work up all my fucking weapon skills, especially guns, because I'm using a gun right now, and that's I'm using the gun version of the stun kidney shot. Like I'm using the gun version over kidney shot because it can't be dodged or parried, so it can't, you know, evasion on a rogue doesn't matter if I stun them with the gun move. But I found out, so I always thought that in PvP, period, across the board, weapon skill did not matter. Turns out, weapon skill does not matter for anything in BGs. Now, if you don't have your weapon skill maxed, you'll have less crit chance. Okay, in BGs, but you still have max weapon skill period in BGs.
Yeah.
In the open world, you don't. In the open, I was like, well, that explains why I'm missing all my shots in fucking SCV on my fucking rogue and not in BGs, is because why the fuck is that in the game? Like why the hell, like, is that just not PvP across the board? Weapon skill doesn't matter. Like, it's so weird to me.
Yeah, I hate that thing so much. I mean, normally it's not that big of a deal, but ranged abilities on a rogue makes it like, how are you supposed to level you don't have anything, like, you're going to shoot at something and it's going to run at you, and then like, what do you gouge it and then run away? And then how do you level your ranged weapon skill? Especially every single phase, they gave us a new BIS ranged weapon. Like at first it was the crossbow, and then last phase it was
the bow.
The bow.
And then now it's the gun.
Yeah, and so like, if it feels like it's on purpose, I'm not going to say anything about like the developers or anything, but like, come on, bro. I don't know why are you making us do this? Why not just like give an NPC that you talk to and then just get the weapon skill? Like, who likes that? So like, oh man, I'm having so much fun missing all my what is it called? The between the eyes. Oh, another miss on the between the eyes. I love this game so much.
Yeah, like, and it was confusing the shit out of me because I was like, why is this happening just right here? And I didn't put two and two together. Oh, I'm in the open world in STV, and oh, I'm in BGs here, because in BGs it works fucking perfect. And then in like STV, it like wasn't working. So what I did yesterday is I went to.
Okay, well, hold on. Before you go on with that, don't you think that it would be so much harder to code? Like, you enter a BG and your weapon skill doesn't matter. It's a lot harder, I feel like, to code it so that when you're fighting a mob in the open world, your weapon skill matters, but when you're fighting a person, it doesn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's how I thought it always was, but it turns out it's always been in BGs. Weapon skill doesn't matter in PvP, but it matters in the open world. Like, and
yeah, I'm saying I think it'd be too hard to code that it.
Then how did they code the 30% damage reduction that works inside of BGs and outside, right now?
Does it work against everything or just
any PvP interaction is 30% less damage now in open world as well as BGs?
I was trying to make an excuse for them, so maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, it's like a hidden aura that they put on players.
So, so you're talking about weapon skill, and yesterday I was like, I need guns up. So I could either go just fight like caster mobs and then just have them shoot, or get somebody to help me maybe, or join a 5-man group and be the dick rogue just shooting instead of doing any damage.
Okay, don't do that. Don't do
that. So what I did is there's the Blasted Land Servants of so there's the level 57 ones. Those are in the southern part of the map around the Dark Portal. They can't die unless you're on the quest. Then there's the Servants of Ogum or something that are in the little temple right to the northwestern part of Blasted Lands, and they're level 53. So what I did was I went and bought 2 really fast fist weapons, 2 really fast swords, and 2 really fast maces. And then I went and, like, when I would pull with a normal gunshot, then I would slow them. Then I would shoot them with the stun. Then I'd be able to get one more gunshot off, right? Like normal gunshot. Then they'd come in, and I started with fist weapons. I'm just working up fist weapons, and then every time quick shot and stun shot came off cooldown, I hit it. I was in PvP spec, so I had a lot of like survivability. I was able to use evasion twice a lot. Then I would, after I'd get through it all, I would vanish, and then I'd reset, do it again. But to get my guns from 150 to 242 is what I got it to before I left, and I was just out of vanish powder. I couldn't do it anymore. I got my unarmed, which is fist weapons, up to 247. I got my swords up to 247, and I got my maces up to like 230. But that was just to work up guns. So now if I have to switch to bows or something, or crossbows again, like, it's going to be a big, huge pain in the ass. So
you just get hard. 4 other rogues, and y'all find a mob, and y'all all shoot it, and only one will get aggro, and the other 4 will be able to shoot it.
Yeah, it's still
run around in circles for like 3 hours. Like,
it's still like crazy how different. Like, I can work up the hunters so fast though, because you have so many moves to use. Whereas,
you pop like rapid fire and stuff like that. You're supposed to be
were
shooting.
you using arcane intellect while you're leveling up your weapon skill?
Oh, I did. Yeah, I didn't get arcane intellect. I tried to find a mage, but I did get. I got a cape with 13 intellect because I figured like it actually had more armor than the cape I was using, so it wasn't really going to make me die any quicker. But if you had a healer, you could just get a bunch of int gear. But I also got the 25 elixir that got 25. What?
I don't know. I didn't know if like the intellect on gear actually helps. I know like arcane intellect helps.
Helps a ton. Any int you could get.
So rogue with full int gear, that'd be fucking hilarious. The only thing what are you doing?
I had 28 intellect base. I got that 13 intellect from the back, and then I got 25 intellect from the elixir of greater intellect, and I used those. I also used superior defense potions so that I could just live longer. Like with a healer, you could do it really fast. Like there'd be no downtime. But yeah, I got most of my stuff like worked up doing that. So that worked out like pretty good, but it was about an hour that I took doing that. So that is one way to do it, but it's really hard to work up range skill on the rogue, and the new ranged moves are really cool and probably not getting as much play because people aren't taking the time to find a way to work it up.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely am not. I'm just avoiding PvP. And whenever I do PvP, I just don't use those things. Like, I don't want to spend a whole night leveling it up.
Yeah, they're so good in group PvP. Like, your team's chasing, and you just quick shots on a 10-second cooldown. You can just slow down people so much. It's very different from what Rogue traditionally do, but it's really cool. All right, well, I think we've got pretty good talks on it. Any last thoughts on PvP or anything the state of? I think we're in a different spot, at least. Like, I think we usually don't have a problem with PvP or the way it was even before, but I think a lot of other people do. And I honestly think it's because they're in PvE spec expecting to do PvP stuff. but that's just me.
I think whenever you force PvE players to do PvP activities, they're always going to complain, no matter what is going on, no matter what the meta is. Yeah, whatever is overpowered, they're going to make a bunch of Reddit posts, and it's like kind of how it is.
It's the way the cookie crumbles. All right, well, I'm going to start ending us out here. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at WC Reloaded. You can follow the Mash Those Buttons Network at the Mash Network. If you want to email us, it's wcrpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to join our Discord, check out Patreon, check out any of our links, any of our stuff. It's warcraftreloaded.com. If you want to get Rested XP, warcraftreloaded.com/RestedXP. How can you up the podcast? Tell people about the podcast. Link it in your Discord. Yell out at Walmart, "I love Warcraft Reloaded." Just yell it out anyway. You'd be surprised. Me and Mel got recognized at Jimmy John's the other day in our hometown. So there's WoW players everywhere. Just promote.
They're everywhere.
All right, Kippzo, where can we find you?
Just KIPPZO everywhere. Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, I guess.
There you go.
Cool. And Oprah, where can we find you?
YouTube is Oprawindfury, but there's no H in Oprah. So don't be that guy that's like, I can't find you. And I'm like, well, delete the H out of my name. And then they delete it and find me instantly. And then, just Oprawindfury pretty much on, Twitch and YouTube. And
I think Twitch is Oprawindfury TV.
Yeah. I got Oprawindfury and Oprah Tank Fury in my tags. So, if I PvP in the open world, it's not hard for them to find me. So
at your own risk.
And Mel, where can we find you?
You can find me on here or in game on Crusader Strike. That's pretty much it.
Fair. And you can find me on Twitter at Blazin_Bob. That's BLAZZIN_BOB. You can also find me on Twitch and the show live, twitch.tv/BlazinBob. All right, guys, let's get out of here. It was a good episode. See you guys next week.
GG.
Bye.
Thank you very much for checking out Warcraft Reloaded Podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss any future content.